Your life carries a strength that is often revealed not in moments of success but in moments of struggle, when everything inside you feels tired yet something deeper refuses to give up, and that refusal is not weakness, it is power being formed. Understand this clearly: you are not behind in life, you are not broken, and you are not incapable. You are in a process that is shaping resilience, discipline, and clarity within you. Even if right now it feels confusing or slow, most people quit not because they cannot continue, but because they misunderstand difficulty, assuming that resistance means they are on the wrong path, when in reality resistance is often proof that growth is taking place. Motivation is not about feeling strong every day, it is about choosing movement even when strength feels absent, because consistency creates strength, not the other way around. There will be days when your mind tells you to stop, to rest longer than necessary, to delay effort, or to accept less than you know you are capable of, and in those moments the decision you make will quietly shape your future, because small decisions repeated daily determine direction more than dramatic moments ever will. You must stop waiting for confidence to appear before you act, because confidence is built through action, through showing up when it is uncomfortable, through trying even when results are uncertain, and through continuing after mistakes instead of retreating into self-doubt. Pain, disappointment, and delay are not punishments, they are teachers, and every lesson they bring has the potential to sharpen your awareness, strengthen your character, and refine your focus if you choose learning over quitting. Understand that discipline is not restriction, it is freedom, because when you discipline your actions, thoughts, and habits, you free yourself from chaos, regret, and repeated mistakes. Life will not always give you clear signs, applause, or reassurance, and many of your hardest efforts will be unseen by others, but unseen effort still builds visible results over time. Stop measuring your worth by speed or comparison, because comparison distorts reality and robs you of momentum, while progress is personal and unfolds according to your own timing and experiences. Your responsibility is not to be perfect, but to be persistent, to show up again after failure, to adjust after setbacks, and to continue refining your approach instead of abandoning your goals. Mental strength grows when you learn to sit with discomfort without letting it control you, when you accept temporary struggle as part of long-term improvement, and when you stop escaping difficulty through excuses. Do not underestimate the power of patience combined with action, because patience keeps you steady and action keeps you moving, and together they create unstoppable momentum. The future you desire will not be handed to you suddenly, it will be built slowly through discipline, learning, and repeated effort, especially on days when motivation feels low. Remember that quitting provides temporary relief but permanent regret, while perseverance provides temporary discomfort but lasting pride. Your past does not disqualify you, your mistakes do not define you, and your current position does not limit where you can go. Because growth is always possible when effort is consistent. Learn to speak to yourself with strength rather than criticism, because the voice you listen to most shapes your behavior, and strengthening that voice will strengthen your actions. Every challenge you face right now is developing skills, awareness, and resilience that future success will require, and if you quit too early, you abandon the version of yourself that could have emerged. Success is not about intensity for a short time, it is about sustainability over a long time. And those who win are often those who simply refuse to stop, even when progress feels invisible. Trust that your effort is accumulating, shaping discipline, sharpening focus, and building endurance beneath the surface. Stay committed to growth, stay honest about your effort, and stay patient with the process, because the strongest version of you is not created in moments of comfort, but in moments when you choose to continue despite uncertainty, resistance, and fatigue, and this choice, repeated daily, is what begins to transform your life from ordinary survival into purposeful forward movement. As you move deeper into this journey, you must begin to understand that control over your mind is the foundation of control over your life, because thoughts repeated daily become beliefs, and beliefs shape decisions, and decisions create destiny, whether consciously or unconsciously. Many people lose momentum not because they lack ability, but because they allow their thoughts to drift unchecked toward fear, doubt, and distraction. And what you allow your mind to entertain will eventually influence how you act. Discipline of thought is not suppression, it is direction, choosing what deserves your attention and what does not, because focus is a form of power, and scattered focus leads to scattered results. You will face moments when negative thoughts feel louder than your motivation, when self-doubt questions your progress, and when distraction pulls you away from effort. And in those moments you must remember that thoughts are suggestions, not commands, and you are allowed to challenge them rather than obey them. Mental strength grows when you practice awareness, noticing when your thinking shifts toward excuses or fear and intentionally redirecting it toward effort and growth. Understand that discomfort often appears right before breakthrough, not as a warning, but as a test of commitment, and those who quit at discomfort often quit just before improvement becomes visible. Learn to become comfortable with effort, because effort repeated consistently becomes habit. And habit reduces resistance, making progress feel more natural over time. Motivation is unreliable, but systems are dependable, and building daily routines that support your goals will carry you forward on days when emotions fluctuate. Your environment either supports your discipline or weakens it, so be intentional about what you allow around you, what you listen to, what you consume, and who influences your mindset. Procrastination is rarely about laziness, it is about avoiding discomfort, and growth begins the moment you stop avoiding what feels difficult and start engaging with it directly. Understand that clarity does not always come before action, because action often creates clarity, and waiting to feel certain can keep you stuck longer than failure ever could. Learn to measure progress by effort rather than outcome, because outcomes take time, but effort is always within your control. Resilience is built through repetition, showing up again after setbacks, disappointments, or slow results, and refusing to let temporary outcomes define permanent direction. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and crossing that bridge requires consistency rather than perfection. Do not underestimate the power of small improvements, because small improvements repeated daily create massive change. Over time, even when the change is not immediately noticeable, fear will attempt to protect you from failure by keeping you still, but staying still guarantees stagnation, while movement creates possibility. Train your mind to respond rather than react, to pause instead of panic, and to choose effort over excuses, because emotional control strengthens decision-making. Understand that success is built quietly through daily commitment, not loudly through sudden motivation, and the most powerful transformations often happen without an audience. Learn to trust yourself enough to continue without constant validation, because self-trust grows when you keep promises to yourself, especially on difficult days. Remember that the future you want will not arrive through wishing or waiting, but through disciplined action taken repeatedly over time. Even when progress feels slow, even when doubt whispers, and even when motivation fades, continue forward, because persistence will outlast resistance, discipline will outwork doubt, and consistency will eventually turn effort As this journey continues, you must now confront the truth that growth demands ownership, the willingness to accept full responsibility for your actions, habits, and direction, without waiting for external rescue or perfect conditions, because empowerment begins the moment you stop blaming circumstances and start shaping your response. Many people remain stuck not because they lack potential, but because they avoid responsibility, hoping motivation will arrive from outside, when real motivation is created internally through commitment and action. Discipline becomes your strongest ally here, because discipline transforms intention into behavior, and behavior repeated consistently becomes identity. You are not who you wish to be, you are who you repeatedly practice being, and every small disciplined choice reinforces the person you are becoming. Learn to tolerate discomfort without seeking escape, because discomfort is the cost of growth, and avoiding it only extends the distance between who you are and who you could be. Setbacks will come, and when they do, they will test your patience, humility, and resilience, but setbacks are not signs to stop, they are signals to adjust, learn, and continue with greater awareness. Reflection without self-judgment is a skill you must develop, because growth requires honesty, not self-punishment. And improvement happens when you analyze what went wrong without attacking your worth. Habits will shape your future more powerfully than motivation, because habits operate even when enthusiasm fades, and the habits you build now will either support or sabotage your progress later. Understand that consistency is more valuable than intensity, because intensity without consistency leads to burnout, while consistency builds sustainable strength. Mental toughness grows when you delay gratification, choosing long-term benefit over short-term comfort, because what feels easy now often costs more later, while what feels difficult now often rewards you later. Do not wait to feel ready before acting, because readiness is created through action, not waiting, and confidence grows each time you move despite uncertainty. Free yourself from dependence on constant approval, because reliance on external validation weakens internal confidence. And the strongest belief is belief built through self-respect and discipline. There will be moments of loneliness and growth, because not everyone will understand your boundaries, focus, or priorities, but solitude is often the environment where clarity, strength, and self-trust develop. Protect your energy by limiting distractions, because scattered attention leads to scattered effort, and focused effort leads to progress. Failure will humble you at times, but humility is not weakness, it is awareness. And awareness allows correction. Stop replaying mistakes and start extracting lessons, because progress lives forward, not backward. Pressure will either build you or break you depending on how you respond, and learning to stay composed under pressure strengthens your ability to lead yourself. Discomfort becomes manageable when you stay present instead of resisting it, because resistance intensifies pain, while acceptance reduces it. Remind yourself often that effort made with intention is never wasted, even when results are delayed, because effort builds skill, character, and resilience beneath the surface. Patience is not passive waiting, it is steady movement without panic, and those who master patience gain endurance that outlasts motivation. Success is not built through short bursts of effort, but through long-term commitment to improvement, learning, and consistency. Every disciplined decision you make today is shaping a future version of you who will be grateful that you did not quit, did not settle, and did not allow temporary discomfort to dictate permanent outcomes. Continue moving forward with responsibility, discipline, and belief in your capacity to grow, because strength is not something you suddenly discover, it is something you build quietly every day through choices that prioritize progress over excuses and consistency over comfort. As you continue forward, it becomes essential to develop clarity of vision, because effort without vision leads to exhaustion, and vision without effort leads to frustration, but when both work together, they create direction, purpose, and sustainable momentum. Vision is not merely dreaming about a better future, it is committing daily to the behaviors, habits, and discipline required to become the person capable of living that future. Many people lose momentum not because they lack talent, but because they lose sight of why they started, allowing temporary discomfort to overshadow long-term meaning, and this is why you must regularly reconnect with your purpose, especially during difficult seasons. Patience will test you deeply, because the world encourages instant results, yet everything that truly lasts requires time, consistency, and endurance. And impatience often destroys progress that was quietly working beneath the surface. Learn to respect the process, because the process shapes your character before it rewards your effort, and arriving too early at success without preparation often leads to collapse rather than fulfillment. Your ability to delay gratification, to stay committed when progress feels slow, and to continue when excitement fades will set you apart more than talent ever could. Clarity often comes after movement, not before it. And waiting to feel fully confident or certain can keep you stuck longer than failure ever would. There will be seasons where discipline feels repetitive and growth feels unexciting, but these seasons are not wasted, they are strengthening your endurance, sharpening your skills, and training your mind to remain steady under pressure. Stop expecting growth to always feel motivating, because much of real growth feels ordinary, demanding, and quiet, and those who succeed are those who learn to show up consistently without emotional reward. Fear of failure will attempt to keep you inactive, but failure is not a final judgment, it is feedback that guides improvement. Learn to adjust without quitting, refine without restarting, and improve without constantly doubting your ability. Self-belief does not mean pretending everything will be easy, it means trusting your capacity to adapt, learn, and persist regardless of difficulty. Build routines that support your goals, because willpower fades, but systems create structure and reliability. Protect your focus by saying no to distractions that offer comfort but steal time. Because attention is one of your most valuable resources. Remember that every strong individual you admire once stood where you stand now, uncertain, imperfect, and learning through mistakes, and what separated them was not confidence at the beginning, but commitment over time. Your sacrifices today are investments in your future self, and like all investments, they require patience before returns appear. Be mindful of what you consume mentally, emotionally, and socially, because your environment quietly shapes your mindset and behavior. Resilience grows when you stop seeing obstacles as interruptions and start seeing them as training, because every challenge strengthens some part of you if you allow it. Measure success by progress rather than perfection, because perfectionism often leads to paralysis, while progress builds momentum. Even on days that feel unproductive, showing up still matters, because consistency compounds silently. The person you are becoming is shaped by the choices you make daily, especially the ones that require effort, patience, and self-control. Continue forward with steady belief, disciplined action, and clear vision, because the life you are building is not created in moments of inspiration, but through repeated decisions to keep going, keep learning, and keep growing. Even when the path feels long, the progress feels slow, and the reward feels distant, knowing that persistence will eventually transform effort into strength. strength into confidence, and confidence into a future built with purpose and resilience. At this stage of your journey, the most important battle is no longer external but internal, because the greatest limitations you will ever face are the stories you repeat to yourself when no one else is listening. Mastery begins when you stop negotiating with excuses and start honoring commitments even when emotions resist, because discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Understand that motivation is unreliable, it rises and falls, but identity is powerful, and when you begin to see yourself as a person who finishes what they start, who shows up regardless of mood, and who stands firm under pressure, your actions naturally align with that identity. Emotional control is not suppression, it is awareness, learning to respond instead of react, to pause instead of panic, and to think instead of impulsively escaping discomfort. Life will test you through delay, disappointment, rejection, and silence, and these tests are not meant to break you but to reveal how deeply you trust your own process. Many people quit in the quiet phase, when applause disappears and results seem invisible, but this is the phase where foundations are built, skills are refined, and character is strengthened. Learn to work without validation, because external approval creates dependence, while internal standards create freedom. Comparison will try to steal your peace. But your path is not meant to look like anyone else's, and progress measured against others will always feel insufficient. Instead, measure yourself against who you were yesterday, because growth is personal, not competitive. Self-respect is built through keeping promises to yourself, especially the small ones, because small wins create trust, and trust creates confidence. Consistency will sometimes feel boring, repetitive, and unrewarded, yet it is consistency that quietly separates those who dream from those who achieve. Resilience is developed when you stop asking why things are hard and start asking how they are shaping you. Pain has purpose when you allow it to teach rather than embitter you, and struggle becomes strength when you refuse to surrender your values under pressure. Clarity comes when you simplify, focusing on what truly matters instead of scattering energy across distractions. Protect your time fiercely, because every minute spent avoiding discomfort is a minute borrowed from your future success. There will be moments when quitting feels logical, reasonable, and even justified, but growth often requires staying when leaving feels easier. Courage is not absence of fear, it is action in the presence of fear, choosing forward motion even when certainty is unavailable. Confidence grows after action, not before it, and waiting to feel ready often means waiting forever. Learn to trust effort more than outcome, because effort is within your control while outcomes are shaped by time. Gratitude anchors you during uncertainty, reminding you that progress exists even when perfection does not. Humility keeps you learning, because the moment you believe you know enough is the moment growth stops. Strength is not loud, it is quiet persistence, steady focus, and unwavering commitment to improvement. As long as you continue refining your habits, sharpening your mindset, and honoring your values, you are moving forward even when progress feels invisible. Keep choosing discipline over distraction, patience over panic, and purpose over comfort, because the future you desire is not built by intensity alone but by endurance, self-mastery, and the unshakable decision to keep going no matter how long the road feels or how heavy the resistance becomes. As you move further into your journey, you begin to understand that growth is not always visible, and progress does not always announce itself loudly, because some of the most powerful transformations happen quietly within your thinking, your discipline, and your standards. This is where patience becomes essential, because rushing the process often leads to shortcuts that weaken long-term success. Learn to respect time as a teacher, not an enemy, because everything meaningful develops through repetition, reflection, and resilience. There will be days when effort feels wasted and results feel distant, but those days are not failures, they are training grounds for persistence. Mental toughness is built when you continue even when your mind offers convincing reasons to stop. Fear will try to disguise itself as logic, doubt will pretend to protect you, and comfort will try to keep you small. But growth requires choosing discomfort with purpose. Understand that discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. It is choosing alignment with your future rather than surrendering to temporary relief. Many people wait for clarity before acting, but clarity often comes after movement, after mistakes, and after lessons learned through experience. Allow yourself to be imperfect while remaining committed, because perfectionism delays progress while consistency compounds results. Setbacks are not signs to quit, they are signals to adjust, refine, and strengthen your approach. Resilience is built when you stop seeing obstacles as interruptions and start seeing them as part of the path. Solitude will become familiar as you outgrow certain environments, conversations, and habits, but loneliness is often the cost of evolution. Learn to enjoy your own company, because self-reliance creates emotional stability and inner peace. Focus is a skill, not a trait, and it must be trained daily by eliminating distractions that drain your energy and dilute your vision. Your environment shapes your behavior, so be intentional about what you allow into your mind, because repeated exposure becomes belief. Accountability begins with honesty. Acknowledging where you are without shame and committing to improvement without excuses. Strength is not proved through constant success but through your ability to recover, recalibrate, and return stronger after disappointment. Momentum is built through small actions repeated consistently, not through occasional bursts of intensity. Do not underestimate the power of showing up when motivation is absent, because those moments shape character more than any easy victory. Your future will demand skills, confidence, and resilience that your present self must begin developing now. Every challenge you face today is preparing you for a responsibility you have not yet received. Trust that the work you are doing internally will eventually reflect externally, because alignment always produces results over time. Remain humble enough to learn, brave enough to try again, and disciplined enough to continue even when no one is watching. Progress may be slow, but as long as you are moving forward with intention, integrity, and persistence, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken by pressure, criticism, or temporary failure. And that quiet strength will eventually carry you to outcomes far greater than anything achieved through impatience or shortcuts. At this point in your evolution, you realize that success is not a destination but a responsibility, because every level you reach demands a stronger mindset, greater discipline, and deeper integrity than the one before it. The journey reshapes you not by rewarding comfort but by demanding growth, forcing you to confront weaknesses you once ignored and replace them with structure, awareness, and intention. Self-leadership becomes essential, because no one will monitor your habits, protect your time, or enforce your standards except you. When excuses disappear, ownership appears, and ownership is where true power lies. The ability to delay gratification separates temporary pleasure from lasting fulfillment, because the discipline to wait builds strength while impatience drains it. Many people want the outcome without accepting the identity required to sustain it. But lasting success is built by becoming the kind of person who can handle pressure, responsibility, and expectation without collapsing. Your focus must shift from proving yourself to others to mastering yourself internally, because validation fades while character endures.